17, 18, 19, 20.
Perfect. Have you been on a podcast before?
No, I haven't actually.
This is your first podcast?
I think so.
High five. All right. So every time we come in here, which has only been a handful of times,
Yes.
you are so incredibly kind
Aww.
and thoughtful. And I'm not just trying to build you up here because when we come in, you're hands-on. You're cleaning tables, you're serving, you are behind the kitchen door. Where do you get your work ethic from? Like, is there a certain person in your life that really taught you to...
Yeah, both of my parents work really hard. My mom is tireless. She doesn't take no for an answer, and she does everything 110%. Mm-hmm. And when you're just really passionate about something and it's your own, I think it's easy to not stop. Somebody said, "Did you ever think you'd be this successful?" And my answer was like, yes. I wouldn't have cried 9 million tears and been so distraught. I mean, I remember when we first opened, lying down in the back alley, which is so disgusting. If you go and see the back alley, you should never lie down there. And just and I'm not a crier, just sobbing. And my mom's like, "Why?" My mom, who is the hardest working person I know, was like, "Why are you doing this? You don't need to do this."
Yeah.
But there just comes, when you create something yourself, you're stubborn and you work as hard as you need to make it what you know it could always be.
Right. And so I think what's also very noticeable when you come in here is it's not just you've cultivated this team that also has the same values that you do. And I talk with a lot of new business owners or people who are starting to hire. How did you cultivate that team that, from top down, has the same values that you do?
I think that's always a challenge, I had a meeting with somebody who's stepping into a management role, and just reminding them and drilling into their brains and drilling into their hearts and their souls, who we are, why we're here, is so important. And living that every day and not compromising yourself, and having a very clear vision,
Yes.
It's very, very clear who we are, what we want our guests to feel when they walk through the door, and what their experience should be. And really just not compromising. I think it's very easy to compromise with ingredients. I think it's easy to compromise with cutting corners, cutting costs, and staying true to that original vision of who you are as a brand and who your team members should be. And kind of if they're going to be open to that culture,
probably
you bring them
quickly.
on. Yeah.
So the very last time that we were in here,
yeah.
A young woman walked through the door, and you and Julie, you squealed and you ran over and you hugged her.
Yes.
She had been the attendant in the drive-through line that you went through that morning.
Yes.
And you just said that you were so impressed by her that you were like, "Hey, when you're done with your shift, come over. I want to give you a job."
Yes.
Is that kind of too, just whenever you meet people that align with those values, you're like...
For sure. And, I think whether it's somebody who is a customer or somebody who... A lot of our staff were customers before they were here.
Cool.
So, yeah, the example you just gave was a sweet girl named Tawny, and Julie and I were in the Whataburger line, and we were fighting over who was going to pay, and somehow one of our credit cards went flying through the window and hit the back wall, and we felt badly we didn't want the girls to think we were just throwing our credit card into the thing, and she could not. Yes, exactly. She couldn't stop laughing, and we just knew that her reaction to something. Right. Like a credit card hurling in her head, was just the reaction that we would want a Bird Bakery employee to have. Mm-hmm. So, we gave her our card, and we just said, if you're looking for an extra part-time work, let us know. And she did. She came in and applied. Mm-hmm. But I was at Whole Foods yesterday, and this guy was so positive and so sweet to everybody in line. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Oh, I saw you on TV. I love Bird Bakery." And I was like, "Okay, well, if you ever want a part-time job, or we don't want to push people, but you just if somebody appreciates your brand already,
right,
it's also a nice it's just an added bonus,
because loyalty is really big for you.
Exactly.
Too, right? Yeah.
And knowing you already know and appreciate, and you're passionate about our product, obviously, if you're a customer, so that's half the battle.
Yeah. So you're in this role as a business owner.
Yes.
But you've held many different positions, titles, worked in many different industries. Did you ever think that you were going to be a business owner? Was this like a lifelong dream goal, or did it kind of just happen one day?
No, it did. My major was journalism and my minor was business, and I had a business background. So at the time that I opened this, I had 3 shows I was hosting. One was Current TV, one was on the Discovery Channel, the other one was on a Speed Network, and it was like I had all these shows, and for some reason, for all different reasons, like Current kind of went away, and all the shows were coming to an end, and I was like, and I know I'll always be a journalist, I know I'll always be a television host, but I thought
it's in your blood.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's my first job, and I've been doing it for 15 years, but I thought seems like a really good time to take that next step. Like I always thought I would probably open the bakery when I was in my 40s or 50s, which I cannot even imagine having the energy then to do it, because like, I mean, it's a good thing I opened in my 20s.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of all-nighters. Like, you know, when we open, we're pulling 3 all-nighters a week, and it takes so much. So it was really perfect the way it happened, and
the timing was right.
The timing was perfectly right, and in a weird way, like I never thought I would be judging Cupcake Wars. I thought I would host it because, you know, of work, but like it's just interesting how that path, it complements each other and it coincides well.
So you've talked about the back alley. What were some of those struggles leading up to day one?
My gosh, everything. Like you know, there's not a book about how to open a restaurant. Well, there probably are a lot of them.
It's one of the hardest industries to really break into, I've heard.
Exactly. They say, I think it's 1 out of 3 closes the first year. And, you know, I didn't have a lot of capital. Like basically, if I look at my build out for this location, it's about 1/10 of what my build out was for, no, that's not true. It's like 1/4 of what my build out was for Dallas. Bye. And so it was a challenge. I mean, even, you know, I didn't hire an architect. I didn't hire a designer. This was, it was an old sporting goods store.
Yeah.
So I basically, like, where our counter was where the dressing room started.
Okay.
So I basically was like, okay, we'll just take the dressing rooms out. We'll put a wall here.
Were you, like, knocking it down and everything on your own?
I wasn't knocking it down. I did hire a contractor, but, I was taping everything off, and I didn't, like, use any computer programs. People say, like, how did you do the rendering? But it was a pretty straightforward space. So I just taped on the ground, like, where I wanted things. And then for the kitchen, I'd obviously never built a commercial kitchen, so I knew the ovens we needed, I knew the refrigerator, but I didn't know exactly the most strategic way to place them for the flow. So I called a chef from the CIA, the Culinary Institute, when I was here, and I was like, I will take you to dinner. I took him to Paloma Blanca, brought him over. I was like, where would you put a refrigerator here? And then the chef at Paloma Blanca, I was like, can you come over?
Shout out to Paloma Blanca.
I know, right? I know, exactly. It's so good. The best 09 margaritas. Yes. So I asked like 4 chefs in the area if I could take them to dinner, and then brought them to our space, and I asked them, where would you put the oven? Where would you put the sanitization area? Where would you put the fridge? And they all gave me different answers, but I marked down, and the places that it overlapped was actually like where I ended up placing it.
Nice.
So
a lot of collaboration.
It was, yeah. And I think it goes to show, like, you can figure anything out. We're in the information age where, like, if you need to really get an answer to a question, you can ask people around you, you can use the internet, and you can figure it out. But it was certainly a challenge in every way. I mean, I can't even tell you, like, so, you know, we open at 7, but at the time we opened at 10. And so all my new hires would come, the decorator would come at 6. Be like, well, the baker didn't bake anything, or he messed up on everything. All the cupcakes are messed up. I'm like I would just need one night off where I could sleep, because I was doing everything. I was doing scheduling, payroll, baking, decorating, like literally you do every job. So if you're like one day, because we're open 7 days a week, I was like, I just need to sleep. Can a baker do it? Okay, well, that didn't go. We're not going to have cupcakes to open at 10. Off. Yes. Well, not even off. You're like, can I just sleep for 3 hours?
You're 3 hours.
Exactly, off. Yes. And then the baker messed up on the cupcakes, so the decorator comes, there's something to decorate. Your doors are opening, you have no product. Like, that's really the challenge in our specific business, is that we bake everything from scratch every day. So I would look across the street or down the street and see people opening a clothing boutique. Not that that's like probably easy, but I was like, well, God bless you for having all of your merchandise already created.
There it is.
Every day. There it is.
Yeah.
You just open the door and it's sitting there. You don't have to build your product every day.
Yeah.
So, you know, creating something from scratch is dependent on so many different people to make it happen. And then recipe consistency. You know, these are all family recipes. I know how they're supposed to taste.
Right.
Growing up. And so when we have to take it from a single batch to a 10 times batch and it tastes nothing like the cookies I've made for the last 30 years of my life.
You can't put them out.
No. And you're like, this isn't right. And it's so frustrating because it's so emotional, you know? It's exactly what you've loved and what you've created and what you've made your whole life. And then you're looking at, you know, hundreds of dollars of products that you're just going to have to throw away, and who wants to waste food? So there have been so many challenges, and they certainly haven't stopped. It's a challenge every day.
Right. And now you're expanding too, so you've got it in multiple locations.
Yeah. It is. It's a lot, but it's good. I mean, you feel like there's nothing you can't handle. I think after doing this for 7 years,
like you can.
Nothing
I
surprises
can do anything.
me. Yes.
Like you should have a T-shirt
Totally.
on the back. I can do anything.
Yeah. No. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of naysayers? Did you get anybody who discouraged you from going into business?
Yeah, I think people, you know, looked at my television background and thought it was just going to be a hobby or something. But it's really just fuels you to try harder. And one of the meanest emails I got actually turned into the best thing that we do. It was like the third day we were open, and I got this email to Bird Bakery. It wasn't even like to me, but it was addressed to me and just said, you know, go back to doing what you do in Hollywood. It was so rude. I came in today and I got 3 mini cupcakes and they all flipped over in the bag and there was buttercream everywhere and I couldn't eat it and I had to throw them away. Like, you guys are going to be out of business in the next year. And it was just a very like negative, mean-spirited email. It wasn't constructive. Yeah. Also, why would you throw away cupcakes because they turned over? I would be licking that bag.
Like the seat
right? Open the bag.
Especially your cupcakes.
Exactly. I was like, that's your own loss. But I was so like hurt and angry about the email that it was like, it really made me think, how are we going to serve our mini cupcakes so they don't turn over? And so, like, I'm not a runner at all, but I say I went for a run. It was probably like a run walk. And I was just like, what could I do? What is fragile? And how do you transport fragile things? And I came up with the egg cartons, you know?
Oh my gosh.
So I would have never come up, and that's our signature way to serve our mini cupcakes now. And we display them in an egg holder that you would put in your refrigerator.
Yep. It's kind of your one of your signature things.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would have never ever thought of that. We probably would still be serving them in bags.
Yeah.
And it goes along with Bird Bakery and our whole theme. Exactly. Yeah. So if she had never written such a rude email, I probably wouldn't have been so inspired and determined to find a solution.
Right. That's really a great way to take criticism that was like not even constructive at all.
Exactly. Yes.
So you're in San Antonio and you spent time growing up here in San Antonio. What has been some of the good things about starting your business here in San Antonio?
Oh, the best thing about starting our business in San Antonio is the fact that it's like kept my grandmother's spirit alive. My grandmother had a catering company here, and this is why I opened here. So she lives like 4 blocks away, and my childhood memories include and are based around, you know, being in her kitchen while she was cooking, and she was my best friend. She passed away way too early. So she had this like incredible following of people that loved her cooking here. And when we opened our door, people were lined. I don't even know how they knew, but people were lined up at our door, and a lot of those people had pictures of my grandmother that I would have never, ever, ever seen.
Did you cry?
Oh, you did. I was like, and I just felt like she was here from day one. I always feel like she's like watching over us. And they had stories. She was a very funny British lady who she was like, no BS, hilarious, would be catering a party, and if somebody was using the wrong fork, would go and put the right fork in there, or if somebody helped themselves, she would tell them, like, slap their hand and tell them, no, you haven't been invited to eat yet. She acted like it was her party or something. But people had the funniest stories about her, and photos that literally would have completely gone away and I would have never seen.
We have such a great community here.
It's true. It's true. And a lot of her friends, you know, she would have been 95 now. So a lot of her friends have passed away, and their children have kept it alive. And they said, oh, your grandmother catered my baptism. And so it's just having that constant reminder of like who she was to me and who she was to this community has been the best part about being here.
That's good. What are some of your favorite places to go when you come in to visit? I know that your schedule's probably like,
I know.
You can't even bring
I never get to like,
visit,
I feel badly because my godparents live here and my dad and everyone lives here and I never go visit them. I'm like, you can come visit me at the bakery because that's where I am 24/7.
Yeah.
I always go next door to Paloma Blanca for dinner. I love their margaritas. I love Smoke Shack.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been to Smoke Shack?
Yes.
So good.
And they've come on the show, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Delicious.
I mean, I don't really like crave barbecue when I'm in LA or New York, so that's like I have to do my barbecue, I have to do my Smoke Shack, I have to do my Mexican food, my margarita, and then I love Whataburger. So I have to go to Whataburger before we leave. Basically, everywhere I go is just for food. And I also like if my kids are here, we go to Kiddie Park because I grew up going to Kiddie Park, and like my second birthday was in Brackenridge Park.
Nice.
So I love, seeing my 3 and 1 year olds where I was at 3 and 1.
That's got to be really special.
Yes.
So speaking of the kids, your schedule's got to be insane.
Yes.
Obviously, having a very supportive team helps. Are there ways or tricks or things that you have that help keep you on track from a day to day?
Yes, I think just the compartmentalization of a schedule and really organizing yourself and being present. I learned in the last few years that I'd be in a conference call with 10 people and then be pushing my daughter at the park and realize that she's not getting my attention. I was putting everyone on the conference call on mute. I felt like so unsettled and not present, and I didn't feel like I could really contribute to the conversation. So I feel like for the first year of being a mom, I was just trying to balance it. And now I've realized, setting those boundaries of like, no, I'm actually unavailable for those 2 hours. I'm not free. Being totally present with my kids without my phone. And then, fitting what would normally be like 12-hour workday into 4 hours of concentrated time where I'm not around them, not having to put my phone on mute because kids are trying to get my attention. And then, organizing childcare around that. It's really... my parents don't live in the same city that we do.
Yeah, that's rough.
So having to be really strategic and organized with your scheduling, and then making sure that meetings, calls, shows, and when we're filming, that everything is like totally accounted for, but that you're present when you're doing something.
I heard once, I can't remember who said it, but it was like the more successful you want to be or the more successful you can be, the less available you have to be.
Yeah.
Just because to be 100% in whatever you're doing, you can't be doing multiple things
Exactly.
at once.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all glorify multitasking. I certainly do. And I feel like I'm always multitasking, but I've had to kind of make but I've certainly had to make a very conscious decision to be fully present when we're discussing something about the bakery or, when I'm on a call or on set. I can't be like, you have to be there because there are people always in business and always who, are doing the same thing you are, who might not have the distractions you do. So really just making sure you're bringing 100% to what you're doing.
Yeah. So, doing some research about you online, I couldn't find this, and if you don't want to answer it, I'll cut it out. But I wanted to ask, obviously it's important because your husband is super schedule-minded as well. To have that support and partnership is really important.
Sure.
But I couldn't find how y'all met.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's well,
maybe I'm just not searching.
No. Well, he always tells it as a funny joke. But our Army's best friend was a producer on a show I was hosting.
Okay.
And then we became really close friends. This is 11 years ago. Army was 19, I was 23. And so I was best friends with his best friend, who's still our best friend. And he kept talking about his other friend, Army. I was like, I am your best friend. And I was like annoyed that he was going to ditch me and go hang out with him sometimes. And he's like, fine, I guess you guys will meet. And
don't we all be best friends?
Exactly. Well, I guess we can all have a threesome of best friends. But I had a boyfriend at the time. And so we were actually just really close, which I think is like the best foundation for a marriage because you know exactly what you've all been through without any pretense or dishonesty. And I mean, we went through like everything that friends go through for a few years. And he always was like, I'm going to marry you. And I said, you're 19. I don't think you know what you want. And then we dated for 10 months when finally he was like, I know I can be a better boyfriend than he is, and like put his foot down and have this big kind of moment. And I was like, I never thought you were going to like step up like that. Because, he would always be like, I love you. And that's like cute, but it's not what
Okay,
you and
thank
yeah,
you.
but you want a guy who's like, here's what's gonna happen. I was
Put
like,
his
oh
foot
yeah,
down.
okay. So then we dated for 10 months. We were engaged for 9, and we've been married for 9 years, almost 9 years.
And that supportive relationship that you guys have has to be reflected here too. I mean, it has to be in everything.
Yeah, I know. I think you have to support each other in everything that you do and understand that, like, just because you're with somebody or marry someone doesn't mean that your dreams become their dreams or their dreams become yours. Like, I think it's really important to feel fulfilled every day in what you're doing and feel hungry and challenged and, like, satisfied with what you've created. And you need somebody that's going to support that vision.
Yeah. Did you see that your Instagram got picked up by the
comments? That's the funniest account. I love them.
I know.
I love Overheard LA.
I'm wondering how they find those. Like, are they literally just trolling everybody's accounts?
Maybe they have like a big team. I don't know. Who's always just on Instagram 24/7.
I don't know. It sounds like a lot of work. Okay, so I wanted to just ask you like some random rapid fire questions since we're pretty much out of time. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Rapid fire questions. Favorite place that you visited?
I love this. It's not so rapid. I'm like, let me think about this. Oh.
Do you need pro and con list?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For so many different reasons. I love the south of Italy for vacation. I love Tokyo for inspiration. I love London for life. And LA is my home. So I don't know. All of it.
That's good. That's good. Your go-to jam to get pumped up?
Right now it's Drake.
Kiki.
Yeah, I'm like so.
Do you have the dance?
I do, and so does my daughter. She can do the whole 3.5.
Does not.
She's very funny. Yes.
You have to record that.
I know.
I mean, Instagram is dying for that right now.
Exactly.
Favorite book?
I mean, I always say the Bible because it's like who I am at the core and kind of what my foundation is. But I like Other Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. It's like my go-to book for my kids.
Yep.
My go-to graduation gift. Yep. And every time I read it, it's just a very simple, basic message, but it's an important one.
It is an important one. Okay, let's see. Strongest leadership quality?
Being direct and knowing what I want and where we're going.
Vision. Vision. Favorite food?
Weirdly, miso cod. I love a miso cod. And jalapeno potato chips.
Oh my gosh, the kettle ones?
Yeah, everything. Any jalapeno, those are my favorite. But actually Zapp's jalapeno are really good too.
Okay, perfect. We'll just endorse them here.
Exactly.
If you could do anything else, what would you do?
Honestly, exactly what I'm doing.
Perfect.
I'm doing all the jobs I want.
Perfect. Favorite place to shop?
Moda or Net-a-Porter or Matches Fashion. I basically shop online.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite red carpet look?
I love everything.
Yours or somebody else's?
I mean, there's so many. Not off the top of my head. I mean, with the Met, there's so many great looks at the Met Ball this year.
The black. Did you wear that one this?
It wasn't this year. Okay. I wore that last year, but
sorry that I know that.
No. Please, I love it. No, there's so many great. That would be its own podcast.
Yeah, I know, right? How do you take your coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
No coffee, but tea.
Yes, tea? Almond milk, and usually like a little bit of brown sugar.
Okay. And if you could get tea or water or any other drink or a meal with anybody, who would it be?
With my grandmother.
Oh,
for sure. Yeah,
that's sweet. And that's it.
Okay,
that's all I got.
Thank you.
And I mean, you were on my list of people that I wanted to bring on the podcast.
Amazing.
When I first started, I wrote down my dream list, and you were on it.
Nice.
So
thank you.
I'm so appreciative to have you be on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Share your wisdom. And thanks for choosing San Antonio and being a part of our community. And I don't know, you're just the best.
Thank you. Let's do it again. I love this.
Okay, a part 2 maybe.
Yes, I need to. I want to listen to all of your podcasts. How long have you been doing this?
Just 2 months.
Awesome.
Yeah,